Hi, I make mental health education videos. Today I'm going to give you 5 essential tips that will help you have open communication about mental health with your child. This video is about mental health conversations for parents. If you haven't seen the first video, Mental Health, Why You Need to Talk About It with Your Kids, check it out. This series was inspired by my book, Unlocking the Mind, A Parent's Guide to the Mental Health Conversation. Children are more likely to talk to their parents about mental health concerns when they know that their parents woe and overreact. Here are 5 tips that will help you show your children that you can be trusted to have these conversations without causing them further distress. No one. Don't overpathologize. Children think differently than adults. They don't see everything through the lens of mental illness. When telling you about an upsetting experience or a distressing emotion, your child may use phrases like, "I feel crazy," or "I think I'm going insane." These are not pathological terms, and using them doesn't mean that your child has a mental illness. Your child may just be using these phrases because they're having an intense emotional reaction. If you respond by saying something like, "That's not crazy, that's normal," your child sees that you accept this way of expressing oneself and will feel safer sharing in the future. In my book, I give an example of a mother who was concerned about her son's drawings of stick figures with sad faces. She asked him what was wrong, and he told her that he had been feeling depressed lately. Rather than reassuring him that those feelings were normal, she started talking about how depression is a serious mental illness that requires treatment. The boy became very anxious and shut down. He didn't want to draw anymore, and he stopped talking to his mother about anything personal. He felt that she didn't accept him and was labeling everything he said. Parents often mean well when they try to educate their kids about mental illness, but doing it in the midst of a mental health conversation can be overwhelming. Not only does it shift the focus from your child's experience to a lecture, but it also communicates to your child that you don't view their emotions or experiences as valid unless they can be categorized under a mental illness label. No. 2. Don't judge their feelings. Just as you don't want to overpathologize what your child is experiencing, you also don't want to judge their feelings as being too much or not a big deal. You can't minimize what someone else is going through, and trying to do so minimizes their experience. This sends the message that you don't accept them, and what they're feeling isn't okay to share. When your child comes to you with a mental health concern, acknowledge their feelings before offering advice. Saying something like, "Wow, that sounds really difficult," or "I'm sorry you're going through," that shows your child that you accept their feelings. After acknowledging their feelings, you can offer helpful advice if they ask for it. Many times kids just need to vent. They don't want a solution. In my book, I share a story about a mother who was frustrated that her daughter would call crying almost every day after school. She thought that her daughter was too sensitive and needed to toughen up. One day the girl came home crying, and her mother said, "What happened? Did someone say something mean to you again?" The girl said, "Yes, and I told them they were a bad person." The mother said, "Well, you can't just tell people they're bad. They might get upset." The girl looked at her mother and said, "But that's what you always tell me when I tell you someone was mean to me." The mother realized that she had judged her daughter's feelings instead of validating them, and that's why her daughter never felt comfortable enough to share what was happening at school. No. 3. Avoid saying things that imply it will go away on its own. Saying things like, "It's all in your head," or "just snap out of it," implies that there's something wrong with your child. They hear that what they're going through is caused by them, and that they can control it, which increases their shame and self-blame. If you think that your child's problem will resolve itself, then don't intervene. But make sure you let your child know that you'll be there to support them when they're ready to talk. Here's an example. You could say something like, "That sounds tough. I'm glad you told me. If you want to talk about it more, we can. And if you don't, that's okay. I'll be here whenever you're ready." This lets your child know that you're available and that you won't force them to talk if they don't want to, which will make them more likely to come to you next time. Number 4, follow their lead. Follow your child's lead in these conversations. Let them set the pace and be the expert on their own experience. Children are more likely to share if they feel that they're in control of the conversation. So let your child decide what to talk about and how much to share. You may worry that if you ask too many questions, you'll cause your child to become defensive or shut down. It's true that asking too many questions can be a sign that you're not accepting of what your child is sharing, but asking some questions can help guide the conversation forward. So use a conversational style that feels natural to you. Be prepared to ask open-ended questions, but know that your child may not always want to answer them. If that happens, then switch roles and let your child ask you questions. In my book, I shared the example of a father who had a natural conversational style that included lots of questions. He was having a conversation with his daughter about a difficult situation she was facing. His instinct was to ask her many questions to fully understand what she was going through. But he noticed that she became irritated and said, "Stop asking me questions. I'm not in the mood to talk right now." He apologized and explained that he just wanted to make sure that she was okay. She told him that he wasn't listening and just kept interrupting her. Now she said that she was okay, but she clearly wasn't. Realized that he had followed his instinct instead of following her lead. He should have asked her if she wanted to talk and then waited until she was ready. Number 5. Do share about your own experiences with caution. Sharing about your own mental health experiences humanizes you and shows your child that you're not perfect. It demonstrates that everyone struggles sometimes and lets them know that it's okay to talk about mental health concerns. But avoid burdening your child with your problems. Make sure that the focus stays on your child. So if you do share, keep it brief and end with how you got help or how you coped. Here's an example of a parent sharing. When I was in high school, I struggled with anxiety, so I understand that you might be feeling nervous about the test tomorrow. I felt anxious before big exams too. What helped me was taking deep breaths before the exam. Would that help you? See how I ended with a question about how my sharing could help them? It keeps the focus on the child. There are 2 situations where I would not recommend sharing about your own struggles. The first is when your child is having a mental health crisis. If they're overwhelmed and upset, they need your full attention. Sharing about your own problems takes the focus off them. The second situation is when you're still struggling. You want to model that you can get help. But don't be that parent who talks about how they're seeking treatment but never follows through. Your child may lose respect for you if you don't follow through on getting help. Having open communication about mental health with your child takes practice. It won't happen overnight. But the more that you can follow these tips, the more trust you'll build with your child. Trust is essential for your child to feel safe sharing their thoughts and feelings. Creating that safe space will pay dividends later. Your child will continue to seek you out when they're struggling, even during the teenage years. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. As always, I hope that this video is one step in helping you unlock the minds of those you love.